Today you're going to learn how to build a simple counter app in SwiftUI. So as you can see, there are three buttons. One allows you to increase the counter and another one allows you to decrease the counter. And in the middle here, you have a button that resets the counter back to 0. And now let's get started. First, you need to make sure to have a SwiftUI project open in Xcode. Now over here, we already have it open. So we're gonna get started by removing all of this in the body, right? And then we're gonna create a simple state variable. So private var like this, and we're gonna call it count, and this is gonna hold the counter value. So next, we're gonna create the VStack here. So this is a vertical stack because we wanna put elements above each other vertically, right? The first view we're gonna put is a text, and this one is just gonna be the count. So like this, and we're gonna put the count here, right? So you can see on the screen here, there's a small 0, but we wanna make it bigger. So we're gonna go with dot font and then dot large title. That way it gets bigger, right? And now let's actually make this font bold as well. And instead of the large title, we can actually do dot system and then size, let's do 64, I guess. Let's make it bigger. So let's go with 128. And now what we want next inside the vertical stack is a new H stack, which is a horizontal stack because we want to put the buttons next to each other horizontally. So the first button is going to be the decrease button. So like this. And this one is going to just decrease the count by 1 like this. Right? So you can actually see the button here, but it's very small. We're gonna style it later. Now let's move on to the next button. So the next one is gonna be reset, right? And this one is not gonna decrease. It's just gonna make the count equal to 0. And the next one is gonna be the plus, which is gonna increase it. So plus here, and then plus equals 1. Right? And you can see everything on the screen here, but it has no styling yet, which we're gonna do now. Now, to do styling, what we can do is instead of using the same style 3 times, we can create a new one. So let's go over here. We're gonna create a new struct, and this one is gonna be called counter button style, right? And it's gonna be of type button style. And then over here, it's gonna take in a function called make body, which is going to take a parameter of configuration like this, right? And it's going to return some view, right? So over here, what we're going to do to make the styling work is do configuration dot label, and then after the label here, everything related to styling is going to go. So let's start with the font, for example. We're going to go with title, right? And let's add some padding maybe. And now what we can do is actually use it to see the difference. So copy this counter button style, and after any of the buttons you can do dot button style like this and then paste, right? And then you want to make sure to add parentheses here as well. So now you can see one of the buttons changing, right? You can see it right here. And now let's add more stuff to it. So for example, we're going to go with the background color, so background like this, and we can do something like color.blue, right? So now you can see the background color change over here, and then we can add the text color, which is going to be with foreground style and then dot white, right? And then let's add some corner radius to make the borders rounded. So let's say 10 for this. And now let's actually add the style to the rest of the buttons. And now let's say we press on one of them. Let's see what happens. So you can see the increase of the counter, right? And let's try to decrease it. Cool, so everything seems to be working. Let's try to reset it now, and it goes back to 0. Now, one thing we can add is changing the opacity of the background color when it's pressed. So instead of doing color.blue, we can do dot opacity like this, right? And then open parentheses like this. And then over here, we're gonna do configuration dot is pressed. And then we're gonna do, if it's pressed, we're gonna go with 0.5. And if it's not, we're just gonna go with 1. So this will make sort of like an animation to the button when it's pressed. So let's try it now. So when you click on the plus, you can see that the opacity goes down a bit and then it goes back up, right? When you click on it. Now let's try it for everything else. Seems like it's working. Cool. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you learned something new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.